Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Briefcase in the Barn, a series of the Furiously Curious show where we talk about business, life, Christianity, and more. Episode 59. It's been a bit since Gary and I recorded. I got my surgery. Gary's still on vacation.
Almost done.
Almost done.
Came home for one day.
How was Barnabas landing?
Good. Yeah. Nicole just asked me that too. Very busy schedule. I've never been to a Christian family camp. I'm sure lots of people that are listening have it. Maybe lots have. I feel like, the thing about Barnabas is that it's a beautiful location. It's probably one of the nicest locations ever. It's like on a little island just off, basically right off the
Keats Island,
right off the Sunshine Coast. So you go to Gibson's, and then you hop on a little boat and they boat you over there. You can see the ferry terminal from where you're eating dinner. The food is phenomenal. It's first class food. Like, it's really good food.
All from on the island.
Yeah, they cook it there. They have a garden there. They have pigs there that they butcher, and you eat their bacon, which I like that. The other thing I thought was really cool is that there's a lot of kids serving there. Many of them seem like just wonderful children, just really great kids. Didn't get to meet their parents, but would have been cool to kind of go and say, hey, you've done a good job. Actually, some of the parents were there. There was parents volunteering with their kids, and Marie and I became pretty close to one couple.
Okay.
They're a chiropractor couple out of Maple Ridge, great people. And we just enjoyed that. We enjoyed, like, you're sitting in that big open pavilion, which is pretty new, and you're overlooking the ocean, eating your meal. It's incredible.
What about the part that they watch your kids and you
that was great.
Have one-on-one time?
We're so PTSD about our children that we probably didn't appreciate it. Like Marie said, that's one of the things she said. Like, she said, if we went again, I would probably just be more relaxed and not worried about what all those kids are doing outside of our purview. But she was just like, every time our kids weren't in our sight, she's like, hey, are they sinking a boat out in the water? Are they burning something down? Are they, should we be watching them? But no, they are pretty cool. It's just kind of being responsible. So no, you're right about that. That part was really cool. The talks were great. Like, there was a great speaker. It was specifically for foster and adoptive families. And
did you feel stuck because you were on an island? You couldn't go anywhere?
I knew I could call a friend in with a float plane, so I knew I could escape if I had to. So I had the emergency exit if needed. No, it was pretty short. It's the shortest camp of all the summer camps. I think
that's right. It's a bit shorter than
the lodging worked out pretty well, considering. We have 5 kids with us. They were very accommodating, which is great. And the theme of our week was life is tragic and God is faithful. And I just love that theme.
That was great.
Yeah. Just preached a lot from Psalms. The guy that spoke, he's pastor. Started kind of a church thing out in Maple Ridge called the Overcomers, a group called the Overcomers. And they do church how I feel like the New Testament church would have been, which was like meeting in people's homes, inviting your neighbors, much more like we have this idea of Sunday morning, all meet. And I struggle with that.
And don't talk to each other.
And don't invite people, because it's like, you're inviting them into something that you've created this tradition of everything that we do, which I'm not saying any of it's wrong unless we have faith in our tradition, which a lot of us do. But just like this idea of like, hey, they just, like the guy that I talked to, the chiropractor couple, they have a young adults church group at their house. It's how they do church. And they have like 50 young adults come over on a Monday night. And it's, they're bringing them the word.
I think also
they're doing life.
I think you
awesome.
Can also do both. You can go.
You can do both, but
that's usually what it should be. Even that's what life groups and all those things are.
And are meant to be. But no, so that was cool, meeting different people and some pretty amazing people that were dealing with very difficult things. So that was super humbling. And
because your week was all the foster kids week, right?
And foster and adoptive families. A very small group. I don't know how many people are normally there, but it felt
usually like 100, 120.
Yeah, it was definitely less than that.
Okay.
It was definitely on the lower end of that. I think they were a little light on registration.
Did you go out and do any of the cool stuff on the water and stuff?
Oh
like that?
Yeah. Got in the Barnabas bucket. Got in the Barnabas bucket there.
Nice.
Got on the big hot dog with the kids. Didn't last on there very long. Of course, when I hop on with my kids, I got one kid screaming to go slower, the other one screaming to go faster, and me just screaming at them to shut up, right? So it's like, this is fun at family camp. You had surgery. How was your surgery?
It was good.
Okay.
I think.
Were you awake while it happened, or?
No, I was full out. So I went in Monday morning, and I was actually I was supposed to get surgery at 11. So they got me all ready. I went up to the operating room and everything. I had all the IVs in my hands and everything. And then like 10 minutes before I'm supposed to go in, they're like, sorry, trauma case came in.
Top priority.
Emergency. So I get rolled back down again to the bottom. And I don't have anything with me. just in my gown.
Buck naked in your gown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't message Nicole or anything else like that. So she was already like close, almost in Vancouver. Anyway, ended up going in, and yeah, they put me face down and cut my back open and cut away the herniated disc. And I woke up at like 8:45 p.m. and
They actually cut out one of the discs, or just cut a piece of it off?
Basically, a piece that was pushing out was a herniated disc. It's like a piece of a disc, like so you have your bones, and then there's like the gel pucks in between. One of those gel pucks was pushing out onto my nerve,
and that's what caused all the pain.
Yeah, and so they basically cut that gel away that's been sticking out and alleviate. So, and like I woke up and I knew instantly, like my leg felt way better,
even though you had literally just been cut open.
Yeah, yeah.
And how many days ago?
Worst part was the catheter.
Somebody was just complaining, saying about how gross catheters were the other day. I'm like, yeah, gross until you need one. Like, good grief.
Well, I mean, yeah, I did need one, but it was just
you did.
It just sucked.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Nicole didn't come. She couldn't. It was like 11 o'clock at night before she could see me. I just told her to go home, and the nurses on the ward gave me one of their little phones. And then the next day at 12 o'clock, I just walked out of the hospital. Nicole picked me up.
That is wild.
No one's seen me.
That is wild.
And so I've been I'm wiped right now. It's what is it, 4:30, and I'm
just gassed.
Yeah, I'm gassed. It's Thursday, but
okay.
Yeah, it's I sit down. I'm sitting down, man. I sit down for like 2 hours today. It's wild. Awesome. It's amazing. Like I'm really, really sore and stiff, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the middle of a holiday, so I'm going back to.
Yeah, you just came for Julius's baptism today.
Yeah, yeah. A whole bunch of people are getting baptized.
Oh, you know who else is getting baptized that you would know close?
My niece, and then Kylie, and then Tim.
Tim DeVisor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right on.
It's exciting.
Sweet. You got anything to talk about?
Oh, I could go on monologue. I listened to a lot of interesting stuff yesterday, all attached. It's the whole theme of that week of Life is Tragic and God is Faithful theme has been on my head.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because I have a couple Bible verses that I pulled up for today's thing because someone sent me a link today of Quebec planning to table a bill banning prayer in public.
Quebec?
Yeah.
Tabled a bill like that?
Yeah. And so
any prayer or just Christian prayers?
Okay, so I'll read it. The Quebec government intends to present a bill banning prayer in public. Secularism Minister Jean-Francois Ruitenburg said in a statement Thursday, "This fall, we will therefore introduce a bill to strengthen secularism in Quebec, in particular by banning street prayers. Seeing people praying in the streets and public parks is not something we want in Quebec," Legault said in December, saying he wanted to send a very clear message to Islamists. When we want to pray, we go to church, we go to a mosque, not in public places. And yes, we will look at the means where we can act legally or otherwise. The statement from Ruitenburg on Thursday provided no details on how the government will legislate against prayer in public. And
encroaching on the freedom of speech there. It's crazy.
Yes. But on the flip side of that, first of all, don't be surprised, like Satan rules the world. John 12:31, at the time of judging the world has come when Satan, the ruler of the world, will be cast out, implying he is ruling the world now. Or Ephesians 2:2, in which following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, like he's ruling. But then also a piece from Peter, which I thought was pretty encouraging. The end of the world is coming soon. Therefore, be earnest and disciplined in your prayers. Most important of all, continue to show deep love for each other, for love covers a multitude of sins. Dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through as if something strange are happening to you. Instead, be very glad, for these trials make you partners with Christ in his suffering, so that you will have the wonderful joy of seeing his glory when it is revealed to all the world. And that's not in order. 1 Peter 4 is actually a great chapter, but just reminds me of what you just said, of just like, hey, it's this world is hard and it is full of suffering, but don't be surprised when trials come, suffering, either persecution or other trials. We're gonna, as Christians, we have so much hope. Like, I have this more and more the last couple of months. We're reading John and seeing more and more like the resurrection is true and real, and Jesus like is really who he says he is, which makes everything else more real, which makes it just like the amount of fear I have is like gone, and just incredible amounts of hope of just like the future, and because he's won. Like, we don't have to fear, and the suffering that we have now, he'll help us through.
Yeah, it is tough though. I think because I was driving back from Orville last night, and I left at 11, so I stay awake. But I was listening to a podcast, Renewing Your Mind. It's like R.C. Sproul ministry.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a fellow on there, I forget his name now, but anyways, he had a 12-part little mini series, and I listened to a bunch of them yesterday. But it's just this idea of like basically all about death, right? And I listened to it partially, well, because part of that theme brought me to like a friend of mine whose child's really sick and dying, and it's like, well, you have this idea of like, hey, how do you walk alongside people like that? What do you say? You never feel like you can say the right thing, but obviously, if you're a friend and you have no communication, that's not right either. Like that's not what you want to do, right? And so, yeah, how do you? And he talked about very practically, like the whole steps of even preparing for your own death, practically. Like obviously, spiritually is the most important, but even just like, hey, don't be a loser. Like don't leave your personal worldly affairs, as he called them, in a complete mess. Like that's just not kind to your family, right? And so, anyways, I'd highly recommend for people that it's a reform guy that does the talk. I mean, kind of drove me crazy because they always feel like they have they make a point of like saying make sure it's reformed. And it's like, I feel like some reform things need some reformation now, but that's just my take. But like the idea of like it's just sound theological pieces, right? To just encouraging word to people and not to say the wrong thing. And
So interesting. We actually, on that note, got a question about that from the last week's podcast from the Tim Tebow clip. And
okay.
And
well, that was last week's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the mailbag message we got in. So I just listened to your podcast where you discussed the Tim Tebow and Sean Ryan interview. I fully agree with your take. I recently was confronted by someone who said, "How could I believe in a God who decrees child rape?" He referenced a book called Suffering and the Sovereignty of God by Mark Talbot. The book was edited by Justin Taylor and John Piper and had several endorsements from other prominent people. In that book, it quotes, "God brings about all things in accordance with his will." In other words, it isn't just that God manages to turn the evil aspects of our world to good for those who love him. It is rather that he himself brings about these evil aspects for his glory. That includes, as incredible and as unacceptable as it may currently seem, God's having even brought about the Nazi brutality at Birkenau and Auschwitz, as well as the sexual abuse of a young child. And then it quotes the book. He's like, what can I say to that? So I have my thoughts. You want to say anything?
No.
I mean, it's a brutal question, and I get it why it's rattling. But the reform position doesn't say God commits or enjoys evil, only that nothing, not even the worst evils, fall outside his sovereign plan. And that's what Talbot and Piper, I think, mean. And the cross is the best picture of this. It's the worst crime in history, was at the same time in God's plan for our salvation. So I don't pretend to...
So, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
So on that note, that was one of the themes of the week. And I think this is where probably a lot of people that believe like we do in the sovereignty of God very strongly, we don't go to the full, we don't read the Bible in its entirety. I don't think we see that even Jesus in that moment, because he spoke about that in one of the talks. It was like Jesus cried out to God and said, hey, to his Father, and said, hey, if there's any other way, right, but your will be done. And I think that's where we as Christians, we think that we can't cry out to God. I think that we're taught that any questioning of God is sinful, right? And it's like, no, we're human beings and we don't understand, and there
read
are
the
mysteries.
Psalms.
Yeah, read the Psalms.
Well,
I'm reading the Psalms.
Constantly, they're like whining and complaining and saying, "I can't do this." Like they're getting mad.
Yeah, but I think that
be real.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of, sorry, I interrupted you there, but I think everything many things are meant to be a mystery on this earth, and I've always looked at it even in like when people are questioning. And it's been really disturbing to me even since we recorded that. And I've had no feedback from that podcast, but I've had conversations with other people that are at churches where they're telling me that sexual abuse is way more prevalent than I realized, which is super disturbing. But it's just this idea of like, hey, and they're like, well, I don't understand. Well, you're not supposed to understand. There's all kinds of myriads of sin and disgusting things that if we're, trying to follow the Lord, we probably shouldn't understand, right? And I think that's where things are supposed to be revolting, and they are. But yeah, how do we deal with it? I mean, that's the.
I mean, it's not that surprising when you read Romans 3. It says our heart's like an open grave, right? It's when we start thinking that people are pretty good that we also get surprised.
Get blindsided.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pretend to know why God would allow something as evil as child abuse. What I do know is that he hates it and he will judge it, and that he offers healing and justice through Jesus. Holding those two truths together, God's total goodness and his total sovereignty, is hard, but it's where the Bible pushes us to. Sometimes the best answer is less of a defense and more of a pointing to the God who entered into suffering himself, right? Because he came and to redeem this whole thing and make it new. which he will do. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, there is the sexual abuse thing. I don't know. It's
You had other feedback too. I saw you had feedback on gun control.
yes, that's right. Yeah, that was from Ed Less's take on.
I really enjoyed the podcast, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I have never listened to the longer first one,
Okay.
which I'll do, but I listened to the one the other day.
Okay. Yeah, I do really enjoy having him on. He's just a smart, just a great guy. But anyways, so he has a chapter on gun control and anti-gun control, and so this was the mailbag response. Ed Less's gun control argument is ridiculous for multiple reasons. First, Benjamin Franklin once said, quote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Secondly, all the gun control advocates who like to say there is no room for assault rifles in a civilized society, but yet fully respect having rifles and handguns, it's a slippery slope. And if you go watch some PRS or NRL competitions, I would almost guarantee somebody could do an equal amount of damage with their competition rifle as with an AR competition rifle, like a single shot. Firearm ownership is the ultimate embodiment, in my opinion, of self-preservation, representative of all things free. It can ultimately give you, every one of us, first and last line of defense and the ability to level the playing field when nobody else is coming to help.
Yeah, so I don't think Ed Less would disagree with 80% of that. It was, I can't speak for him, but I heard him very distinctly say, "Hey, he's not in favor of, he's just wondering why your regular Joe needs an assault rifle." And I mean, that to me, that's fair. I mean, I'd like to have an assault rifle, but like,
yeah. I mean, it's also more of a. I would say Canadians are more leaning that way just because of the media and everything else like that too. But I poked back at this guy, and I said,
"Did you play the devil's advocate?"
No, I said, I wish you were this passionate about the gospel too, and had this quick of a response on that kind of stuff, because which I always like to poke at, because I think it's really important. Like even during COVID, people are getting so upset that their family is getting vaxxed or not vaxxed and stuff like that, but they never talk about their family, about the gospel. They don't believe in Jesus. They're going to hell. And I'm like, that's the bigger issue. Like if we're Christians, like that's what we should be talking about with people and pursuing. And we're so quick to like jump on all this little other stuff that like is just about us and our money and our crap. And yeah. So that's what I poked back at. Freedom session starting soon here locally. No, my wife Nicole is going on Thursday nights, and so I'm staying home and watching the kids. But I'm thinking about starting my own little small group. But I can't do it on Thursday nights, the regular group. So if there's anybody listening that's interested and that knows me locally here, reach out. It's going to be a very small group, like 3 to 5 people, and meeting for 28 weeks. So, but if you're interested in that, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday nights. And we'll figure out a place to meet. But so if you're interested, just reach out to me. You had dancing in here in the notes.
Oh man, is that all I put down?
Yeah, you showed dancing.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is the context that I get when Gary's notes in notes tab.
I probably while I was talking to somebody and I quickly wrote it down. Something made me think it'd be interesting to talk about that on the podcast. Well, you know what my favorite line about dancing is, right? You know why I think dancing isn't great, right?
Because go ahead. I think I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say? Because it's the vertical expression of your horizontal desire.
I get this now.
I don't think that's why I put it on there, but that's why I'm anti-dancing. No, what was the context there? Son of a beater, I don't remember.
So dancing, great. I don't know why anybody has an issue with dancing.
Well, it's biblical, right? There's dancing in the Bible. Anyways, I'm jesting. I'm being cheeky.
Okay, you put sports day at school. Sports day. Any context there?
These were all really powerful thoughts in my mind. The other conversation was more recent. We can go back to the sports day.
Which one, dancing or sports day?
No, we'll go back to both of those later. There was one I talked about the inheritance of the children. I had somebody bring it up with me about like how because they were on our family holiday.
How generous should you be to your kids?
Yeah,
Food,
they were
money,
comparing. Well, and even just like with food and like treats and spoiling and ice cream and it's interesting how when you're in some families, like we'll go out for dinner to somebody's house and they cut out their portions and it's like, okay, this is the amount you get, and after that, that's all there is for supper. And they may or may not get dessert, but you just don't get more food, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not I don't necessarily have a strong opinion. I'm just kind of like, hey, is that normal? Like, and then in our house, it's like, oh, you just, it's gluttony, right? It's like whatever.
Yeah.
Or not gluttony, but it's just, there's definitely not, first of all, we have kids that haven't had enough food in their life. And it's like, there's all kinds of trauma around food. So we're probably going to parent even a little different than a fully biological family. And there's lots of different stuff going on there. And I think you want to be really careful around food with kids just for self-esteem issues. And I think that you want your kids eating healthy. Like, that's how I feel. I just want our kids eating really healthy, but it's hard because, obviously you want to be a fun parent.
It's funny on the food thing. So like the boys know that Trey is really strong on food and like eating healthy and stuff like that. And so they'll bug me now. Like, I'll have like a bun with a burger and they'll be like, Dad, would Trey eat a bun?
No, he would not. No carbs.
He would not eat a bun.
No
and
carbs.
So I was giving him crap today because they were having waffles and Trey's going to stay at our house in a month.
Oh, fine.
And he's going to come down for a couple of days. And I'm like, would you eat that waffle with Trey around? And Peter's like, no. Anyways, inheritance.
Yeah. So it was just this idea of the conversation I was having with my friend was just kind of like this idea of like, hey, how do parents choose on how or does it even kind of, our relationship with God or how we view God, does it come into that, how we parent? It's like, hey, we're generous people. We're lavish with our kids. There's lots for everybody. Or are we just cheap and, hey, we, keep cling. Can we let go of stuff? Can we give stuff away? And it's just the idea of, even like with Maria and I, we also talk about inheritance. It's like just the idea of like some families, and you see where they just, I think we've talked about this before, but just, hey, we split it up between our kids and our kids get our inheritance. And some people take the verse in the Bible where it's like they talk about to the next generation and they're giving stuff to their grandkids, and other people just give it all away to charity. I think there's rules against that. I've talked to my lawyer about it, and it's kind of like, sounds like legally you're not even allowed to do that.
Give it all to charity?
No. Sounds like if you had, let's say, $1 million in your estate when you passed away, and you gave $100,000 to your 5 kids and $900,000 to some nonprofits, it sounds like your kids could contest your will. That was what I got from the conversation with my lawyer. I don't. There's probably
I personally would try to probably give as much as I could before I died.
Yeah, but would you give it to your kids?
No.
Okay. Yeah. There again, I mean, it comes into conversation.
I would try to help my kids if they needed help.
Help.
Like, I mean, like a grace, right? The whole point of the gospel is that we get grace undeserved. And so I have no problem.
Our kids should experience grace from their parents in their life.
Yes,
100%.
100%. Yeah.
Which is that. So that's where the conversation went that I had. It was just like that balancing act of, and this is for people that are parenting, but even as a kid, it's like you look at your parents and be like, yeah, they're like, people need correction, and guidance is loving, and being tough on your kids at times is the most loving thing you can do. And then there's other times where exactly what you say, what does that look like? How does that grace look? And it probably looks different even for each kid. Some kids probably need way more grace than other kids, and then the kids think, oh, this isn't fair. You're favoring the kid. And of course, parents do have favorite kids, so that's a problem. But you were the favorite in your home, I've heard.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Favorite. Anyways.
Bonhoeffer? But Bonhoeffer in here, do you remember that?
Yeah, because I listened to that last night. I'm listening to his book, the autobiography, the book on Bonhoeffer by, I forget the fellow's name who wrote it, but definitely phenomenal. Like, phenomenal book.
I think it's interesting, this conversation about money reminds me of John Piper had a sermon, I think 30 years ago, that like the last 300 years in Christianity have been the anomaly when it comes to Christianity, in terms of that it's like the common accepted religion in North America, and where there's prosperity around it. But in the history of Christianity, the last 2,000 years, usually the Christians are maligned and persecuted, and like in most of the world, that is the case nowadays as well. And so where they don't have money, and we're likely just going back to normal, it seems like in our countries where Christians are again put on the side, and where, I mean, most Christians aren't having the question at the end of their life, what am I going to do with the money I have? And where is it going to go? And stuff like that. Like, they never had it in the first place, because it was taken from them and stuff like that. And they were persecuted and everything else like that.
Yeah. Or if you read in, I think maybe it's 2 Corinthians or maybe it's Acts, I forget, I'm butchering it now, but where they basically, it says they sold what they had to help a fellow Christian out. And like, very few people in our churches are selling anything to help out their less fortunate Christian, right? Yeah. And I mean, even if you look at just the churches we go to, they're affluent, right? And you
Yeah.
just look in the parking lot and kind of see how people are obviously really well off. But
Yeah.
I think our posture should be, hey, if somebody's doing without, how can we help them? If we have that as a general rule in our life, we can help in obviously all different kinds of ways, right? But
Hebrews 10:34, which is amazing. They joyfully accepted the plundering of their property is a phrase from that passage, describing believers who, out of compassion for others in prison, willfully suffered the loss of their possessions with a joyful attitude. The joy stemmed from the knowledge that they possessed a superior, enduring treasure in heaven and not on earth. And so they joyfully accepted the plundering as their property as they looked back and see their houses being burned to go help their fellow believers in prison. Well, like what do we do, or most Christians do, when like the government starts encroaching on our rights and stuff like that? We don't joyfully accept that. We start bickering and saying, my stuff. Like it's just backwards in so many ways to what
now, to be fair, North American Christianity is very different than probably Christianity around a lot of the globe, I would assume. Right?
That's right. Yeah. So. Like I said, the last 300 years have been an anomaly. Yeah. Like it's usually not been that case at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we're I think a little soft. So, okay, I got one more here. What age should kids get a phone? How old's your? What was it, 12?
Oldest is 11.
11. I would say, if like right now, I mean, to back up here, I remember when I had no kids. And I seen a parent in the plane, give their kid an iPad, and
you judge them,
and I judged them hardcore. Okay. And then
the best parents are people that don't have any kids.
Yes, so and then I had kids, and then I gave my kid, I give my kid a phone, definitely on the plane when we were flying. So I got to be careful here. But my opinion right now is that when they're 16, they get a phone, and I give them a flipping dumb phone that texts and calls and no pictures. And simple as all get out. Like it's cocaine, man. Like dangerous crap.
Yeah, I guess before I take too hard of a line on it, I feel like I need to get my own phone usage under control. Again, not that you wouldn't still protect your kids even when you're struggling with something, but I just think, man, the amount of time that I spend on mine and the amount of time that like I say, it's
yeah, you'd have to lead by example.
Yeah, if you're a full-on hypocrite, I mean, you're really going to lose the room pretty quick in your family, right? And I think
which makes me wonder if I should actually even go get myself a dumb phone now. Still, I had one for a while, and then I gave it away to somebody.
Okay,
let's switch.
Maybe you can get it back.
And vlog. If we'll do like a little vlog series on
Punked.
6 months.
Was it a Punked? Was that the brand?
Punked? Yeah.
And that phone couldn't even text a picture.
Correct.
Okay, literally texting and calling.
Yeah, and a group chat.
Okay,
through Signal only.
Okay, not on WhatsApp.
And it did hotspot. So if you had a laptop with you, you could hotspot.
Yeah, if I think of all the things I do and all the group chats I'm in, even on WhatsApp, I'd be in pretty deep trouble if I couldn't
temporarily
use WhatsApp. Did you say temporarily I'd be in trouble, or just temporarily?
Temporarily you'd be in trouble. You learn, right? You learn, you adapt.
Yeah.
You probably learn other ways.
I'd just have it go to someone else's phone, and they would send me a text message if it was an emergency, and then otherwise just check it periodically.
But it's also not even like you don't really know what you know kind of what you'll lose if you do something like that, but you don't really know clearly what you'll gain
until you do it.
Yeah, and you usually gain a lot, right? Like I noticed that with my lockbox thing. Like I noticed when it's gone, my phone's locked up for the weekend, what I lose, and I'm like, frick, I really want this thing right now because I don't want to deal with my kids. Yeah. And then like a day in or a day and a half in, I'm like, wow, like I feel super good.
Okay, even when we were in Barnabas, you have the 3 hour of water time down on playing on those icebergs and stuff and all that fun stuff. And it's like, I just left my phone in my room, charging in my room. And it's like,
good for you.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
That was the only time. I mean, for the rest, I was pacing.
Did Marie totally love it? And
no, she was really mad at me. Not really mad. That's a stretch, but.
About what?
Just how much I was on my phone still.
Oh, still? Okay.
Yeah. At one point, like I could show you a picture. Well, because we talked about the person that was, doing the spin class and without the shirt on at the front, right? Yeah. Who will remain unnamed. And then we're in a group chat together, her and I and that person. And then she sent her a picture of me pacing across the Barnabas down the pathway with no shirt on. And this feels a lot like a guy at spin class, except even creepier because he's 41 and he's got, moderately out of shape. Anyway, so it's just funny. I was nuttier in squirrel poop, right? I was on the island, so cut myself a bit of slack.
Anyways, we got to go see this guy get dunked, and I am totally wiped. So I think
we're calling her a short one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. Oh, one more thing. Got another guy signed up for a job from Furious Recruiting, and someone reached out to me this week, and they have an 18-year-old son who wants to become an engineer, that is looking for a good job right now, good guy to work for. Anyway, I guess he's an engineer mind, and so if you have a position open, and you
What does he want to do?
I didn't get that much clarity on it.
Need more clarity.
I'm meeting with him on Friday, but I just thought I put that out there already in case someone's like, "Oh, that sounds like a great guide for."
Obviously, looking for full-time work.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
Till next week. Thanks for listening.